obtain a draft of said ordinance. After I thought about it, so I talked to Christina, we talked about publication of notice, and then after I thought about it, statutes more, I realized we really don't have a draft. I provided you guys the beginning of the draft. But there's a lot of policy that is not there. I have the legal structure, that's my job, is the legal side. So I give you guys the legal structure, but not the policy structure. I wanted to put pause on it because I didn't want to get the cart ahead of the horse. I wanted to make sure that procedurally we are doing things correctly. I've seen other municipalities that, I think have gone about doing things not in line with the statutes, and I wanted to make sure that Town of Turtle is not one of those municipalities. And so, that is why we did, because it just feel like, my advice to the town was, I don't feel like we're in a spot in giving out copies of draft ordinance that is gonna be a true, reflection of what we're doing in the past. Right.
So, holding off on the hearing, we're still under the protections of.
We're still moving this process forward. Yeah, we're still moving this process forward. It was not intended to stall or delay the process. It was meant to make sure that whatever we do, with regards to a moratorium ordinance, is end up to legal challenge.
Perfect. Very good. With that, we'll go into citizen comment, and before we go into that, Glenn, did you want to speak again, or?
Nope, I think we're good, yeah.
So you're covered,
Yeah,
okay?
please.
Very good. For anybody who's wishing to speak, we have a sign-up list over there. I have a full page here. Yep, do you guys want to speak? Start with Bart, go ahead.
So the only two things, I have two things. Number one is this Mid-Continent Grid Solutions. They are doing a new transmission line project. Has anyone received information from Turtle on this? Really?
John did.
John, and I know Rob did. So, you have until the 7th of September to do a written comment. I'm going to do one basing it off of our comprehensive plan, because one of the lines that was, it was going straight through Paul Hoffman's entire farm field. And I'm going to request that the transmission lines stay out of Turtle. And they have 5 options. I think 4 of them are on the west side of Beloit. Is it 3 on the west side? So that's what my plan is for that. And then I am gonna request something to be on the agenda for next month, and I know this is quite unusual. And it is not for Roger Anclam, I'm gonna tell you that right now. I would like to see on our agenda the, I'm sorry. I would like for us to talk about disclosure agreements and not doing them unless they come to the full board, like here. And what I just said, I truly mean, it is not for Roger Anclam, but we don't know what's gonna happen in the future. None of us know. So I think we need to protect the town and just take care of it. And especially the attorney should be looking at the agreement. And is there anything that's gonna get us in trouble? But that is my request. That's all I have.
I got 4 things, so I'll be a little more windy than Chris. One, the fire department roof should be happening fairly soon. We're getting close to the 6 months that was in the bid package, and then I believe they have 10 days after they decide what day.
And actually, Rick, for the meeting, I did get an email 12th, they're looking at the 25th as a start date.
Okay, so
Good to know.
maybe we won't have water in there. Number two, I know that we don't do a lot of things up here that people don't like, but I wish if any of you, got some time, to go up, take a look at the pollinator area that we created up behind the fly field adjacent to the walking track. It really is nice, it's in full bloom right now. I've had a couple people that walk the track tell me how much they appreciate it, so if you get a chance, go up there and take a look at that. Last month I asked about, adding a speed limit into our ordinances for the, new sub of tall trees down here. I'd like to get that again, so we could get that a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit up there and get to work on putting some signs and get some stop signs and other things going on that project. And last thing, there's some misinformation and some confusion out there about the Town Line Road project that's gonna be in 2027. Now, this is an LRIP funded project with some town money going towards it from Turtle and La Prairie. And we were approached last year before the August deadline, which must have been, I don't know, June, July, or something like that was the timeline when we were approached by the town of La Prairie about doing a joint project to restore or rebuild Town Line Road. It needs it. It gets a lot of agricultural traffic, and I think that was La Prairie's main focus, is because of the agricultural heavy trucks and farm machinery that uses that road. The shoulders are beat up and broke down, and joint projects get looked at favorably by the county and the state when they're awarding money. So this project had to be submitted before August of last year to catch the deadline for approval, which we got together with La Prairie and submitted it jointly, and it was approved long before anybody ever heard of the word data center in Turtle. So it was not something to do with that. I'd never heard that word in last summer, and now it's in everybody's vocabulary. So that's going forward, and part of that project is east of County J, which will support the new businesses that we have over in Tiffany. So truck traffic can get in there to the feed mill and the hardware store and the other businesses that are down there at the end of Town Line Road. And the other part is west of County J all the way to County G. So that's the timeline of that, and that's the story as we have it right now. And if anybody's got any questions about that, catch me after the meeting and I'll be happy to answer them. That's all I have.
We have one thing, and that is, Chris had talked about the Mid-Continent high voltage line. For anybody who's interested, there's a meeting for Rock County on Thursday the 27th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Woodman Center at 2510 Milton Avenue. That's open to the public. That's all I have.
What time, Roger?
4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, Bill, Tim, you're good. Mike, you're good.
Will we talk about the ordinance process, Chris, now?
I think we should talk about that one.
Okay.
Ordinance in that art.
That's fine, yeah, Chris had talked to me earlier.
I think it's fine,
Yeah.
explain the other.
We're gonna do it now? Or when we do the ordinance?
Let's just do what we can do.
Okay, all right.
I would like to just say that the election went great and say thank you to all of the election workers, because like, as per usual in Turtle, everything went smoothly and
How many
I see you,
voted?
The question was, how many voters? There were 528. Val Brown Anderson?
Oh, I don't have any.
No? Okay. Cindy Foltz?
No thanks.
Oh, okay,
They, apparently that's not the comment sheet.
that's, is there a sign-in sheet there?
Yeah, just, you can just go
Okay.
and ask if anybody.
I'll just go down to Sioux Gate.
No, wait, Roger, those are the people that just signed in to come here. So just
Okay.
ask if there's anybody that wants to.
Is there anybody that signed this and wants to speak? Okay. Shelley, we'll go with you, and then we'll go over to Don, and we'll put it back.
Well, you guys have answered a few questions, but I guess I'm gonna just say what I came here to say anyway. Because I think that all of us were concerned, and I'm glad that you said that you wanted to discuss it a little bit more, like how the process happens. Because I know that a lot of us are worried that things are going to happen in the correct order, that the public notices are gonna happen in the correct order, that people are gonna have an opportunity to review the statute, to review the ordinance. I just want to make sure that this is ironclad so that we're not going to get to a place where we're doing this moratorium and it's leaving any type of loophole for a developer to come in and say, hey, you didn't do this correctly, or you did this out of order, and to have any reason to be able to challenge it. So I was kind of hoping maybe that you were going to do the steps before, because sometimes I think that we are, and I'm sure all of you are going to agree, we're sometimes at a disadvantage because we have public comment before information is given to us. So sometimes it's really nice to get that information first and then have like a rebuttal from us or additional questions from us. So I'm just gonna shorten this up quite a bit from what I was gonna say, but I look forward to hearing, what the steps are, how they have to happen, because I'm in another township that's looking at the same thing. Town of Rock is doing the same thing right now. So I'm interested to see what's happening here, so I prepare myself for what's gonna happen there too. So thank you.
So I share your sentiments about making sure there's no loopholes, right? That's why we did pause, make sure that this is, and I will say that Rock attorney that is across, is behind the wall in my office, we are working together on this. Because of the timing of things, Turtle has come before Boyd, has come before Rock, and so, you'll see very much similar messaging across those three towns.
Joe, good night.
Yeah.
Don?
Donna Redner, 4900 East County Road. Just a couple of things. You said the LRIP road construction was to be split with La Prairie,
Yes.
but the actual agreement is only Turtle. Are we on the hook for the 218 and then they're doing more on top of that, or? Okay, so it's still 218,000 for the town of Turtle, our end. Okay. And we took a drive up to La Prairie, and I don't know if you're aware of the solar farms, the 2,793 acre proposed solar farm project that's going in up there. Yeah, it's called Dawn Harvest. It's massive, which leads me to wonder why La Prairie wants us to help them with the roads.
Are you talking about Jay? What's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I represent. So I give you a little bit of background on that project.
And Alliant too, right?
No, I do not represent Alliant.
Your firm does?
No, our firm does not represent Alliant. Not that I'm aware of. I don't, Tim Lindo doesn't. They have in-house counsel. In fact, I was sparring with their in-house counsel last week.
Sure, I believe that.
But anyway,
It's okay. That project is a 150 megawatt project is what it's proposed to be. The laws passed, I believe in 1997, took authority away from the towns for solar projects over 100 megawatts and wind projects over, I think it's also 100 megawatts. So really the only authority that the towns have is, when it comes to these projects, is road use. That's where we've gotten involved, is requiring certain things of the developers to use the roads. The production reductions that are, there really are no tax changes. Taxes are pretty much frozen. It's not like it's a huge development that is going to be creating all this tax revenue. Unfortunately, the towns do get a statutory, I'm gonna call it a payment for the loss of the land, essentially. But it's minimal. I don't remember the numbers. They should be public because it's a public project. I haven't directly received those numbers because I don't really do the taxes for the town, that would be the assessor. But it's significantly less than you would imagine. The towns are not seeing really any benefit from this project. The landowners are, the towns are not.
So the towns are responsible for the roads?
If they're gonna ruin,
Correct, and so essentially what happens is the towns enter into, we call it a local operator contract, but essentially we're obligating them, the developers, to identify what their haul routes are gonna be, they're stuck to those haul routes, and then they have to pay to repair those haul routes.
So why would Town Line not be part of this?
It's not, it wasn't identified as one of their haul routes,
Okay,
so they're not allowed to use that, essentially.
because I definitely see the need to repair from Tiffany to J. But from J to G, I don't think that road is in that bad a shape, but, 218,000 seems like a big chunk when right now that money could be used elsewhere. Okay, on to the moratorium. So you said you held off because you didn't feel the ordinance was in good enough shape to share.
I don't think it was in, sufficient enough form with the detail that I have in the basic draft ordinance to be anywhere near final form, right? And so if the town is holding this public hearing and giving out copies of an ordinance that it intends to pass, it should be a good faith representation of what they intend to pass with obviously public comment added in. And we're just not there yet, which is what the point of the discussion later is to.
Because in the law that you cited, 66.1002, a municipality may not enact a development moratorium ordinance unless it holds at least one public hearing at which the proposed ordinance is discussed. So it doesn't sound like you need to have it approval ready. You need to have a format.
I would refer you to 661002, where it states that the public notice requires, I'm sorry, I have my notes here. Oh, I just lose it. Essentially, you have to have a description of the ordinance. You have to have a location where the town people can get a copy of it, right? And so, and then thirdly is a town official to ask questions about the ordinance. And so, if we don't have, like I said, a copy that, a draft of the ordinance that reflects what the town intends on passing, then we can't in good faith give it to somebody that requests it and say, yep, this is what we're looking at passing, right? And so the process, and I guess we're gonna get to this question now, Chris, is, again, you publish the notice, you hold the hearing, you have the members of the town discuss the draft ordinance, make changes that the town feels is appropriate to that draft ordinance, and then the town board enacts it, right? So you have to have something to discuss.
Correct.
Right.
But you're making it sound like this public hearing is gonna be, you tell us what you want, and we go, oh.
No, I never said that at all.
That's a feeling I'm getting.
Well, I never said that.
Because this is supposed to be open, a public hearing for public to discuss what's on that ordinance. Your resolution only cited, I think, medical concerns or something.
Public health concerns, because that was
Public
the
health.
report that we were
There's
given.
a lot more to this than just public health concerns, and I'm hoping whatever you're putting together also talks about environmental issues. issues with the livestock in the area, the water tables, I mean, there's a whole host of things that were not in that resolution that I'm hoping are in this ordinance.
Again, I don't know how else I can explain it. The public hearing will be an opportunity for everyone to discuss that. I'm not telling the board what to put in their ordinance.
Donna, how I see the public hearing, Nikki Seldner, I don't know if she's here tonight, but she brought up specific studies. So I see residents then saying, have you thought about the grid? Here's a study that I have. Here's something that I have. And we have right now, Dane County, Greene County are doing studies. And I'd like to tag on to some of that, but that's what I see happening is you're gonna feed us during that public hearing information that we need.
In order to write the ordinance, correct?
Then it'll finish the ordinance.
Finish.
All we have is a very basic draft.
I
Very
guess I feel like
basic.
that's all you need right now. Why aren't we moving ahead with the public hearing?
We just got that today,
Oh, okay.
so we're getting there and we will, and unfortunately, it's the last thing on the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Good. Oh, okay.
Thank you. John Lauder, 3909 South Wyoming Court. Chris, you mentioned the public hearing on the transmission line. My understanding on that is it's more of an open house thing where you can come and look at their designs and talk to them one-on-one, that it's not a formal presentation. Okay. Then I have a question. It kind of depends on the answer of what I speak to here. Is there on the agenda, and I just don't see it, something to approve Mr. Sleeper's recommendation that you approve the blacktopping and things that have been done in the subdivision? Is, you said no, Roger? Can you tell me,
He said no, John.
can you tell me why?
Yes, because our clerk has been knee-deep in elections and those things, and knee-deep in information requests, and it did not make it on the agenda. Doesn't matter that it's not on the agenda, it's gonna be time dated back to the date that he sent the letter.
I appreciate that. And I know how busy she has been, cause I've contacted her a couple times and we've discussed things, but, I guess we've worked on this project for more years than either one of us care to remember. And we're just trying to get to the end of it. And I really, he sent this recommendation to you at the end of July. And I guess I'm just baffled that it's not on, and I don't blame you, Christina, I'm not blaming you. Please understand, I'm not blaming you.
Don't hold against the board.
And
There's a million things in it.
I get it, and that's, it is what it is. Can I assume that it will be on the agenda next month?
It will.
Okay. I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Are you gonna mow that swamp,
There was somebody else.
Mr. Lauder? You can't talk. You gotta be quiet.
Would you like me to address it, though?
Keith, go ahead, John. You can address the question.
Um,
I'm a neighbor.
yeah, no, it's a DNR thing, and I can't tell you what we can do and what we can't do
You know what you can and can't do.
Well, you may,
mow it,
you may,
can't
you
spray
may
it.
think you do.
You're gonna argue, go outside. Keep
So-
this meeting going.
Yeah, that's it.
While we're waiting for it to come up, to answer your question, look through our files, we do not represent Lion and no one else that interested in it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm sorry if I accused you.
Nice. Good evening, Keith Oswald, 7770 South Lathers Road. So first thing, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate that we continue to have early polling hours here. Because almost every time we have an election, I wind up missing it. So I appreciate the fact that we can come in early and do that and the effort that it takes to do that. Second thing is, on the moratorium, just thinking about, right, we all know that the actions that we're taking were at the end or the beginning, right? So when we think about all of the concerns or issues we want to address in the ordinance, I just really want to err on the side of too many things, because we can always back away from something, right? But if we don't have it in there, my concern is we can't put it in there. So when we do have the public hearing, you know, I hope that everybody listens and we put in, you know, everything you know, the kitchen sink, right? So that we make sure that we get everything addressed that we want to, in the time that we have. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else have any comments? Okay. Next on my list is approval of minutes. You have the minutes before you, I believe.
Is that you, Tim?
I think Bill moved for their adoption and I'll second the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Bill Brewer?
Yes.
Tim Sanders?
Yes.
Chris Walsh? Tim Pop?
Yes.
Roger Anglin?
Yes. You have before you the invoices.
Now, we're gonna approve both meetings, right? Right, with both meetings.
Yep. You have the invoices before you. I would move for their approval. Your second. Motion is second to approve the invoices. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Bill Brewer?
Yes.
Tim Sanders? Chris Walsh? Yes. Tim Pop?
Yes.
Roger Anglin?
Yes. This is the treasurer's report paid.
So, yeah. One thing I wanted to point out on this month's treasurer's report is that all of your expenses for July are accurate. You actually do have more citations that were collected, that it takes a long time to post them and I wasn't able to get it done. So the citation number is lower than it should be, and that those citations will be added on next month. It's the credit card ones that are missing.
So where are we at?
They're not posted, so. We don't, but the processing company, it's like 50%. Is it? Oh, can we? Not sure. Either.
If they want that option.
Yeah.
That option.
Yeah, I believe you.
No, I think we should.
You just have to begin with that.
Okay,
It has to be, like, when you go to pay it, you know, it's gonna pay.
yeah.
You want to do?
There's more. I can tell you that the checking account balance is $2,992.69, with the money market being at $613,801.57.
And our year-to-date this year on interest on investments is $37.50. That's three or three. Are you right?
No, I'm not sure where it's. Yeah, 24,419.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. $24,419.18.
This year on investment.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on to adopt the financial report, correct?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Bill Brewett.
Yes.
Tim Sanders.
Yes.
Chris Walsh. Yes. Tim Cobb.
Yes.
Roger Aikman.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, do we have a report?
No, we didn't meet last month. We had a meeting next month.
Thank you, great report. That gets us into unfinished business, discussion possible action, ordinance amending fire inspection requirements for commercial property.
I don't know that this is prepared yet.
Okay?
Is that-
Didn't I send it to you?
Today?
Yeah, I thought I sent it to you with the
I was
updated.
reconciling the election.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
seen it today.
So I can take care of that. So last month, the fire chief asked us to adopt an ordinance under SPS 314-01 sub B sub 7, I think is the correct file, that essentially changes the frequency of fire prevention inspections from 6 months to 1 year. Correct. Correct. So I drafted the ordinance, and I apologize. I thought I sent it to you.
You may have, I've been reconciling the election.
It's a very simple ordinance. It just says pursuant to the authority of that section, the town will move from requiring inspection every 6 months to every 12 months, once a calendar year.
Are we up against Wall Chief Act on that?
Well, I actually think I thought we passed it last month and just pending a draft. of the ordinance.
Well, the police one,
Okay.
the
Well,
police one we did,
okay.
and then the other one they wanted
There- we want
to see it.
Yep, we'll just carry it over. Okay, new business, 14A. Discussion and possible action, approval of contract with John's Disposal. What do we have with that one?
So, my understanding, and if there was a new email today, I probably didn't see it. But my understanding is that the wording is the same as the rec one. I do not believe we have.
I thought we approved it last month.
So you guys approved awarding the contract. Then they were gonna take that proposal that you liked and form it into a contract, and actually the contract.
I like to lay this over until we have the actual contract. And one thing, Christina, that, waste was maybe not as good, the calendars, putting out twice. I prefer John to do it because they are good. And I prefer them to do some educational materials at the same price.
So John's, as well as any of the other waste management companies right now, they don't send anything in the mail. They do provide information with the new totes, and they will provide me with an actual digital calendar that I can put on the website. And then what we did last year, what you guys did last year is we had that printing printed, we still sent it, but that was on the time was on us. Yes. Okay.
What do you got to lose?
So we're gonna carry that one over, right? Okay, moving on. Discussion and possible action on estimate for microphone and audio system upgrades in the main meeting room. So, we, made contact with more than one vendor today. We have a proposal here from a vendor to improve the sound system. Have another one
Monday.
on Monday, so maybe we're
We did have one for $6,200.
correct.
Renee worked real hard to get companies to come out, and people were not very interested in the business. Bill, you look like you don't have one. Did you have one? It looked like you were searching, so I could have passed one
You
down.
got it.
Never mind. Do you want two? Yeah. maybe that.
Yeah, that's what I wanna know, with their, whatever squad.
That's fun.
That's fine, where we got our laptops, and you'd be surprised what they do. for a lot cheaper.
Well, I can definitely have Renee look into that. He may be a very good option.
Well, then let's look into that and just carry action to this one over until we do a little more research. Anybody opposed to that? Carry it over. C, discussion possible action on amendments to the definition of junk vehicles in the town ordinance. Chief, you wanna talk to us about that?
Yeah, sure. Going over the ordinances and going on the condition of some of the residential properties that have many vehicles parked on them. You want me up there? Okay, I'll go right back up there. Maybe there'll be more commercials. All right, so the nuisance ordinance with junk vehicles it has a definition that is, for years and decades, has have allowed, cars with registration plates to just sit there, become dilapidated, even though they have plates on them, be overgrown, road ridden, and everything else. This nuisance junk vehicles definition just updates it to the current decade we're in. So it just says nuisance junk vehicles are classified as vehicles that are damaged, leaking, unsecured, partially dismantled, inoperable, favorable to the harborage of rodents and insects, etc., and they contribute to neighborhood blight. Okay, so that will allow us to actually effectively be able to, run registrations from public view and see if people are still actively paying for those registrations, or if they're just hanging them on these vehicles and in their yards and letting everything grow up around them and not maintaining it, which contributes to the neighborhood blight, which is the biggest addition in there.
So you simply wanna include the, nuisance junk vehicle language in the 1407?
Yes.
Can I make a friendly suggestion?
Sure.
If I'm reading this, the definition, the way it's currently written, I would argue it needs to, the junk vehicle would need to meet all of those to be considered a junk vehicle. So, is that the intent, that it has to be damaged, leaking, unsecured, partially dismantled, inoperable, favorable to arbitrary, and contribute to neighborhood?
No, I think we should put an or in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
so I would
I
say,
agree.
we should
Yep.
say that are either damaged, leaking, blah, 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 or contribute. That would be.
I agree, yeah.
So you wanna add the word either damaged
And then change that, and then make it an and/or potentially.
and or contribute to blight. Okay. That work all right for you, chief?
That works
Is
for
there a
me.
motion, just this done?
Yep.
I'll make the motion, we include that in 1407. And there's a second, any discussion?
We have a program, chief, years ago where they could donate those vehicles to the fire department.
Yes, we would give them a hold harmless agreement that they'd sign that. We don't, it would be at their expense to get it to us, but.
So I mean, just an option if you do run into that they could donate it to the fire department if they so desired.
Okay.
I didn't know if you were aware
I
of
noted,
that.
I wasn't worried. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, we haven't done that in some time, but it still exists.
Okay, no, I'm just gonna wait in case we see
You're fine.
something else.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sure. Oh, sorry, I was answering his question.
Yeah.
Bill Brewer,
Take your name.
Tim Sanders,
Yes.
Chris Walsh,
Yes.
Tim Cow,
Yes.
Roger Andrew.
Yes. Okay. 14D, discussion and possible action, increase the court costs.
That's what you-
So, court costs increased by $10. We have not been charging it. It was brought to our attention by the actual prosecuting attorney for the township. And we'd like to raise it to what is statutorily maximum for court costs when people do come into, usually just try and get a plea bargain on their citation. Not too many people take trials, so.
So So what are you proposing we do?
I say we raise it to the maximum allowed by the statute, I believe that's what, $48? Right now, I think you're at 39,
Raises it.
$48 for court cost.
You're making a motion to increase it to the maximum level of $48. We have a motion, I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I will say that Bryce does support this, so.
Okay.
It's worth.
All right. Good enough. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Yes. I'm going home at 9 o'clock. So hurry.
Bill Burr, was that a yes? Tim
Yeah.
Sanders,
Yes.
Chris Walsh, Ed Cott,
Yes.
Roger Angle.
Yes. That gets us to 14E, discussion possible action ordinance establishing ATV, UTV routes within the town.
It's back.
He's got help.
I'm Chief Tim Steck, if you haven't met yet, welcome you all back,
He brought a mob with him.
Yep. Okay.
Mike, nice to meet everybody. What do you wanna know, Roger?
So, all y'all met with the chief to come up with this ordinance, you guys have looked at this is looking, what I didn't see in here is I didn't see it here, would have to be included with you. Petition Rock County for permission to use the county roads, they have a process where they then send that to committee, but we can't use their roads until the county asks for permission, and then they paper grade it or not, I'm assuming you want that included.
Correct.
Okay. You guys are all in support of this, right?
Yes.
There's a couple of things, when I looked through it, that I think we should talk about. One of them, the signs, you guys are, your group has a way to supply the funds for the signs, right?
Correct, we will take care of all the signs.
Purchasing all the signs, and then, there's a question about, do we wanna have the
Not want county.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we have core guys that were willing to, take the time and put signs up as they come in.
Okay, but you still would need the highway department to work with you as far as where those need to be located.
That or one of us could keep them at our place. We own the signs. I don't think we need to have them at the highway shop. I think the only thing we'd ask the highway shop to do is if we were to put a post in the ground, is have it located for us, because it is in the town.
That's what I meant, the location where they go and.
Yeah, they'd have to call line or digger's hotline before we dig.
Okay.
So, Scott knows how to do that, so.
So that portion should be complete
Right.
before.
The whole thing in there about working with the county for putting signs up, and it's all part of the county highway department's review is a no. They want to do it on county, what you do with them on county roads is.
Yeah, the county would be in charge of putting up the signs.
Yeah,
on the county
road, the county would have to take care of it, and we would reimburse them. There is a possibility that we would have to reimburse the town. I don't think we can pay the county for it. If it's in the township, we would give you the money, cash. And take care of the signs and installation. And they have a whole packet on the height of the signs, the distance of the signs. That would be a very specific where everything has to be. And we'll have backup signs if something goes down. Replace it as quickly.
So if I may, the portion you're talking about with Rock County and stuff, that the language actually in here, that he's talking about is section 4 of this ordinance, which is route signage. Under the direction of the town, which would be the town of Turtle, route signage for ATV, UTV routes shall be fabricated and installed by Rock County Public Works Department. That needs to be struck, because that wasn't the original language in the actual, original draft that we had either. The sign shall not be installed until an individual or group of individuals or an entity enter into an agreement with the town to pay all expenses associated with signage in accordance with section NR 64.12.7 of Wisconsin Administrative Code. It shall be inspected annually and shall be maintained by Rock County Public Works. That was a different thing that came back from attorneys, that was not in there as well. Use of town road as an ATV route is prohibited until signed, and that means signs are posted.
Some of the language up above, chief, where we talk about installed by, I think we need to leave the Rock County language in there for the Rock County.
Yes, yes, I agree.
But we need to add language in there for the town to take care of on town roads. And then the maintenance, part of it, if the Rock County wants to maintain the maintenance part for their roads, that's what, you know, we would take care of our roads, they would take care of their roads, it has to be in both places. But not just simply strike it out. Right?
I agree.
All right. So, brought to my attention that we have a situation, a couple of situations. We have a situation down on Ridge where we're surrounded by the city. We have a situation in, we've often referred to as the triangle, that's surrounded by the city. But we may have to exclude those areas, right?
Well, they would have to trailer their vehicle through the parts that are city, since they're landlocked by city, over into the township to fully enjoy the direct route for UTVs, ATVs, which goes all the way up to, you know, Darien, Delvin, Lake Geneva area and stuff. You know, but they can do that. You know, people already do that to go to trails, to ride trails. It's unfortunate for them, but unfortunately the city took over everything around them. So, you know, they'd have to do that if they were gonna travel outside of their neighborhood, so to speak. But you're talking one curve, and you're talking, you know, 6 or 7 roads within those actual landlocked areas. It's not a big or significant, you know, size. And just the actual, you know, money this could generate just with the people that use the UTVs between Darien and the township of Turtle that go and, you know, they enjoy their Sunday cruise or Saturday cruise, and then they partake in the restaurants and the you know, soda shops and stuff. It'll be actually very nice. And it'll give us a nice enforcement aspect to be actually able to stop and enforce them for any violations of actual laws within DNR and within traffic code as well. So.
Our biggest goal was keep it simple. When you pull into the town, you see a sign that says all town roads are open. You start saying, you know, take the triangle out, now you got a whole different sign language you gotta deal with, you know, like they drive outside of that. Be there to make a little more revenue for the town, so.
I think it's worth putting your signage out down in those areas though, I mean,
You know,
What's your
make
thoughts
it
on
very simple, just an ATV picture, you know, and then one at each end, that's an end. You know, it's what, 2 roads?
It'd be 2 roads going in the triangle and then one going into the ridge.
You exclude them, it just gets a little more probably wordy and everything.
I agree they should be treated the same, but it's just.
I mean, they're going, it's minimal cost, you know, if you're making a sign, it'll be, yeah.
The logistics become an issue. I just don't want somebody down there to be driving the UTVs around, slip on the city street, and then we have a problem with our neighbors, right?
They already have many problems with the ATVs and UTVs. Right now, they have pursuits every night on the weekends with like dozens of them. So yeah, that's not gonna, yeah.
So, I guess I can say it differently. I don't wanna see our residents see that sign up there and they go hot run around with their machine, and then they're getting tickets because they didn't understand they're not supposed to be on the city streets.
Ignorance is not a defense in the court of law.
If you see the signs in most towns, you have one that says ATV route, and then at the end of that road, it says ATV end route. So, you know, that, it's good, 2 signs at each end, you know, it's simple for them, but, I mean, if it's a town's idea, if that's what they wanna go with, they just do, take out the triangle and stuff like that. We'll do whatever we need to.
I'm just asking a question.
Sure.
You know.
We talked about that, but we wanted to include everybody, we didn't wanna keep anybody out.
They're right, with pretty much every other municipality in Rock County has done is 50%. You know, begin ATV route, end of ATV route. My suggestion would be to keep it that way because users are trained to look for those signs now. And so I think the county's desire is that there's uniformity. Trying to remember one town last year actually changed their sign. They were an early adopter and they were kind of not all out. But that would be my suggestion. Is try and keep it as uniform as possible with signage so that people are, okay, this town is really uniform, that town is really uniform.
So we've got a couple of little changes that we need to make to this language and then,
So I was trying to make the changes in real time here. It looks like it was mostly section 4A, where we're referencing the county highway department, correct? Yeah. Is there anything else? So I'll send it over to you. Essentially, I can add language that you suggested, Roger. It's the town highway department, town roads
okay, so, starts over in 3A, where we're talking about route. Talking about strictly prohibited from operating with shared with neighboring municipalities.
Unless both municipalities have it.
That, because some parts of South Creek, am I saying that correctly? Some parts of South Creek are in the city,
One side of South Creek's in the city of Wood.
so is that gonna represent a problem?
No,
Town Hall Road as well?
I believe the state says if you share a road.
We're the only town, Clinton and Dwight and everybody else has got it. We're the only one that doesn't have it.
The prairie does.
White has passed it now?
Town of White is passed it?
No.
They haven't. Rocket. Town of Prairie, are they open ATV, UTV?
not that I know of at this point, no.
Okay. So that's why I was wondering. Because when you're traveling with one of these, are you supposed to be traveling on the same side of the road as you look at the traffic? I mean, can you go?
You have to stay with traffic.
Stay on the ditches.
Okay,
I mean, the law says drive on the road, not the shoulder.
right, right. That's cool.
Bradford's working on passing it right now as well. Creek Road with
So Chief, is there a problem if our guys are blitzing down Town Line Road if they're on the prairie side, or is there gonna be a problem there?
There's no problem with the common boundary for us, not at all.
Okay. All right.
See, it's how you enforce the law.
We are responsible for the prairie as well.
Okay, so are you comfortable that you have captured, Mike?
Yeah. Yep.
What's the pleasure of the body?
I like this one, 5D, where if you're 39 years or younger, you gotta have a ATV safety.
Where?
5D. If you're 40, you don't have to have one, but if you're 39, you gotta have one.
Kind of like others. Voting.
It's the state statutes, reflection.
Yeah, we're with this. I vote.
I'm gonna do this, if you're okay with it, Phil. I'm gonna make the motion to approve the ordinance and with corrections, and then we also make requests to Rock County for all county roads in the town to be open to ATV, UTV traffic as well. Does that cover it? Okay. There was the motion, so a second.
But is it your motion or his?
It can be his.
Oh.
He can grant, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
Your group will supply us with the materials we need to see this.
Yes, be no cost to the town.
Yeah.
That was always the issue.
That was always the issue before. Where this money? Due to some good township residents and business owners, we bridge the gap there.
There's a motion out there, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to second, is there any discussion? Roll call vote,
Bill
please.
Brewer?
Yep.
Tim Sanders?
Yes.
Chris Walsh?
Yes.
Tim Cop?
Yes.
Roger Inclin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That gets us to 14F, discuss possible action, process defense and roofing permits.
We had this once before, and I'm definitely against it. Somebody wants to put a new roof on their house, let them do it.
There is some confusion because we have re-roofing permits in our fee schedule and we have fence permits in our fee schedule. So what we need to do as a board is we need to clarify, if we don't want to charge a permit fee for re-roofing, then we should take it out of the fee schedule. Okay, and we're gonna have fence permits, and if we're doing that through the highway department, correct? Then we need to say in the fee schedule that that's done by sure, highway department. That will clear it up, yeah?
Yes.
Because if somebody's re-roofing and somebody reads our fee schedule, then the building inspector thinks he's got $50 coming. So we aren't gonna do it, because we haven't done it, but it's in the fee schedule, then take it out of the fee schedule. Okay, we'll take it out of the fee schedule. That's part of the motion. The second part is to clarify on fence permits, that's done by Turtle Highway Department, right? So is that your motion, Bill, to take the re-roof out of the fee schedule and clarify fence permits are done by Turtle Highway? Is that your motion?
Yep.
I'll second his motion. Discussion. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Bill Brewer.
Yes.
Tim Sanders.
Yes.
Chris Simcoe.
Yes.
Roger Inclin.
Yes. Routine discussion and possible action, resolution establishing temporary restrictions of activities on Turtle Creek during the bridge reconstruction.
If we have something here, they're gonna try and do that from the time they take the bridge out till they put the new one in. Well, I think if, when they take the bridge out, it'll be one day, and then let the creek go until they start the new bridge. That's what we need to close for a year or however long.
Well, I think it should only be like when there's actual
Yeah.
work being done.
Yeah, I do
Uh,
too.
And that's just a public safety thing, so. Somebody, and I think, I don't have that in my packet, but I think it said 2027, and I believe 2026 should be in there also, because I think some work is scheduled for later on this year out there.
I don't think we should close the creek from the time they start till they're done.
Agreed. And that should be the responsibility of the contractor to put the signage up and deal with.
Needham.
So under restricted area and time, if we said,
I don't know why they put 27 in or 26, it's only when actual work is being done. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
And then what, you're going out and arresting people, they're all standing under the bridge because they want to see.
Well, we're gonna go out and get voluntary compliance before we arrest anybody. That's the way it works, very nicely, but then we'll, yeah. You know. So, I just felt the breath of everybody behind me right now. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring food here.
so I think under number 1, it's where it talks about from the commencement of bridge removal through the completion of bridge construction. Somewhere in there, you could add language that says only during periods of actual work is taking place.
Yeah, I would, somebody want to.
And the third whereas is not correct.
Yeah, I would just eliminate everything after the close parentheses and whereas.
They got problems throughout this document with extent,
That just means sections. It's,
but it isn't usually,
it's usually the section
it is
symbol.
on the bottom like that.
Yeah.
So how do you propose to fix it, Mike?
Well, clean up the typos where they say SS. Remove in the year of 2027, because that contract spans more than just 2027. And then in section 1, where it says, from the commencement of bridge removal through the completion of bridge construction, I would just say something along the lines of during the periods of active work to either remove the bridge or construct. So something along the phone. I got it.
Okay.
So that it's clear that, like you said, only during active
Okay.
construction. There's periods of the old bridge is out, but new work is not commenced yet.
Okay, so you know what parts you wanna clean up?
Yeah, do you have some words off? Can you get from me on?
I believe I do, I know I do, because I have a change loaded.
Yeah, if you wanna send that to me, I'll make those changes.
I think we better hold on this thing, because what it means, now says no way.
Well, this is just, my understanding, this is just a draft from them. All right, so we'll just carry this over, and Mike, you're gonna make, okay, thank you. This is the 14H, discuss class and full ordinance establishing moratorium on data center development. So,
Sorry, I'm just making notes in here to make sure I don't miss anything on that last one. All right. So I think we've touched on this quite a bit tonight, but to kind of recap the process to enact a development moratorium was started at our last meeting by passing the resolution saying that you're going to be exploring a moratorium. Step 2, as we've discussed, is to hold a public hearing. In order to hold a public hearing, you have to publish notice. The townsfolk have to have an opportunity to review the draft ordinance. So in front of us, we have a draft ordinance. I will say that I think the 2 sections that we really need to focus on are the statement of the problem and then section E, which we currently have titled direction to develop data center ordinance, as those are the 2 that are lacking, right? So the state statutes require that 1, you identify an issue, and then 2, that you state in the ordinance what actions the town plans on taking to remedy the issue that is identified. The resolution, as I laid out in that memo for you, that that I believe is in your board packet, identified the issues that I believe it was Mr. Ido Bruce, provided in his report, which are that A, there are potential energy demands leading to substantial increase in the combustion of fossil fuels, the power infrastructure sited within or immediately adjacent to a residential community causing health consequences. B, the potential for exposure to fine particulate matter smaller than 2.5 micrometers, diesel engine exhaust, and above media air pollution leading to significant air quality issues and health consequences. And C, not and C, but C, increased exposure to air pollution and carcinogens due to the proximity of the project to schools. And then D, depletion of water sources due to significant water demand for the project. That is what was identified in the initial report. I would, the statement of problem currently reads, temporary moratorium on data center development is needed to address the potential public health and safety risks. The development of data centers in the town of Turtle presents. A moratorium on data center development will allow the town to conduct the research necessary to create a comprehensive data center zoning district that ensures the health and safety of town residents, businesses, visitors, and the public are protected. I would start there, suggest that we start there by identifying anything else that you want to add to that. This is a policy item, not a legal item, so that's up to you guys to identify what policy issues you want to identify.
I have a question before this.
Sure.
So if we can do like an IGA, governmental, when would that commence? Or if we could tag on to some of the counties that are already doing these reports, so we don't have to pay to redo them, when does that?
So an IGA with Rock and Beloit, so you're talking about an IGA with Rock and Beloit so that you guys are all the principal clients of, hydrologists and whatever other professionals you hire. I mean, that can start immediately. You don't need to wait for the ordinance to do that.
But we have to draft an IGA.
You would have to draft.
I really think it behooves us to do that, just because then we're all singing from the same book and we all support each other in this process.
Yeah, I mean, you have your interests are aligned, most definitely. Concerns seem to be aligned as well. And so I agree that an IGA, so that you're sharing the costs of whatever studies you undertake, alleviates the burden on each of the towns. I mean, very similar to.
So then, like, we're doing this ordinance, Town of Beloit's doing each of us is doing an ordinance. Each of us knows maybe different things. So that's where I'd like to see more of that dovetailing. So I don't know what the Town of Beloit's, what they've identified as the purpose or the problem. Or the other ones, and maybe it's the same as what we have.
So what I will tell you is in seeing the Town of Rock and the Town of Beloit's report that they relied on, it is almost word for word verbatim as to the report that you guys were given, but with a different signatory to it. If that helps. I that's about as involved as I've been with that at this point in time. We did provide them basically the exact same skeleton.
Who
ordinance.
starts, because we're unfortunately the first dog out. Who starts the intergovernmental agreement? Do we request one? Who would be the requester?
Good question. Someone's got to ask someone else to dance first. Otherwise it's never going to happen. So if I don't know what talks have been had with the different towns.
Nothing that I know. We never.
Yeah, I don't. The good news is I can have that conversation with the Town of Rock's attorney very easily.
Please do that.
But I mean, I think there is at least an understanding between Beloit and Rock that is desired amongst everybody. But again, if no formal conversations have been had, we can initiate those. That's not a problem.
I think we got to do that.
I think, like I said, I think that's the best
I
way to
don't wanna
protect
be
the town.
Contrary to anyone else with theirs either, you know what I mean?
I do, and again, this is a draft. This isn't final, right? I mean, it would, if we're gonna do an IGA, it would make sense for the towns to have very similar, if not identical, ordinances. That said, I will highly encourage you to listen to your town residents at the public hearing and include concerns that they raise, which may not be the same as Beloit and Rock, or they may be the same. I can't say. But my advice would be to lean towards listening to your residents as opposed to having 3 identical ordinances.
So do you feel that we have enough framework here to take it to hearing and then start hanging more?
I would like to at least, add what I just read to section D, as far as identifying what the public health and safety risks are, for now and at the public hearing. If other risks are raised, we can add those to it. I need to know for section D, it's very simple right now, because it's the only thing we've discussed in substance, and that was amending the town's zoning ordinance. Or, looking at what an amendment to the zoning ordinance would be. But I also need to know, how are you gonna get there? Are you going to engage, like I said, hydrologists, engineers,
That's
soil,
where I would like
yeah,
to tag on to Dane or Green County, because they have,
sure.
or maybe La Crosse County, because they're way ahead of us.
I guess my point is, I suggest that state in that section E there, what you're gonna do. I understand you wanna tag on, but I need you guys to tell me what you wanna tag on.
Well, I think
Oh,
someone brought it up.
the environmental, the grid, the water.
Someone brought it up tonight that didn't want to leave anything off the list. And I think, that's a good approach. I mean, you've got that talks about the small particulate matter, you've got the diesel engine exhaust, you got health consequences, you got air pollution, carcinogens, and water supplies, and that, at least that's a really good place to start. If we get to the public hearing part, then we can get whatever else pops up.
Mhm.
But I think this
But-
paragraph captures a lot, I think what you said earlier.
Yeah, but again, that's identifying the issues. I need to know what steps you're gonna take to resolve those issues. That's what I'm suggesting we put in here, right? So again, geology, geological studies, hydrology studies, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm a lawyer, and I will admittedly say that
So
I'm
you're talking E. right
E.
now.
Yes, I'm talking E. If you guys want me to put in what I read for D, perfect. That's a great start. I need to know what you want me to put in D, because I have nothing to draw from.
Well, we have chapter 19 that you had put in there, but in my mind, it's much more than just chapter 19.
Right, and that's why we didn't.
And
That's why we
I don't
canceled the
have
public
it in
hearing.
front of me,
Yeah.
But I guess I have to look at it, because anything pertaining to, I'd have to look at the ordinances, yes.
So more or less what you're saying, Mike, is we've identified the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to identify if we can find a solution. Or use
Now
some
you need to
better
identify.
verbiage.
Now you need to identify what steps you're going to take to identify a solution.
Correct.
Right. So you've said.
Or decline.
Correct.
Whatever you
Correct.
want to say,
Right.
solution to
Yep.
that. But what steps we have to do to show that we are proactively pursuing an answer, whether positive or negative,
Correct.
depending on.
Yep. So it needs to be to read from the statute, a statement of the specific action that the municipality intends to take to alleviate the need for the moratorium. So I need specific action that you intend to take.
So we can we say access existing studies? And if those aren't available, to engage other entities to do some studies that will satisfy these needs?
So,
Because we don't have specific contractors identified.
Right. I'm not asking for specific contractors. I'm asking for action. Right. Contractors will be the ones who conduct the action, but I need to know what the action is. Yeah. Well, that's part of it, right? I mean, it could be, maybe the action is, engaging professionals to, conduct studies to identify.
Number 5 on there, see if that.
so this is one that went through with no problem.
Mhm.
can we use their language? Since it passed for them. And that's not giving you any.
So this is, I mean, this is very similar to what's in here currently. Again, the statement of the purpose on here is, they've identified with adequate, to provide the village of Greenville with adequate time to assess the impacts of secondary effects of data centers and promote meaningful development of implementation of Greenville general ordinances with regards to such. They identify health, safety, and general welfare, but then their statement of specific actions is just that they're going to draft an ordinance providing comprehensive and appropriate regulations to data centers to protect health, safety, and welfare.
I think,
Again, here's the thing is, I don't love this, and this is what I was talking about before. I don't love this because if a developer comes in and you say, what are you doing? They can say, what are you doing to draft this ordinance? What's taking so long to draft an ordinance? They can't rely on stuff. They can't say, well, we're waiting on geological studies. We're waiting on hydrology studies, because I don't think that's wrapped up in drafting an ordinance to provide regulation. In my opinion, right? As Tim said, it's a big hole. I would like to have more specifics, and I think that's what the townspeople came up here and said too, is they want to see specifics.
Because otherwise, we're still subject. We can have a great piece of paper, but if we leave a hole, it's not worth a dime.
Just to put it back, part of the reason I have concerns about this is because my mentor was lunch with him a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that back when he was practicing, he challenged a number of these development moratoriums, and they were struck down every single time in court. I don't want that to happen.
Thank you. So just a thought, right? So there's a lot of resources out there that will explain to you the types of things that you should be studying. If we open it up with studies including but not limited to, and then you talk about the power grid, you talk about the environmental, you talk about, there's a lot of resources out there that'll help you guide that. So it shouldn't be that hard to create the statement, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah. But I just need direction on what you guys want me to include. Yeah, if you guys are willing to solicit, yeah, I'm happy to put that in.
happy to take it.
Do you have a copy of the town of Janesville's moratorium? Do
I
you have a
do.
copy of the town of
I
Janesville?
do. That one I don't love because it says it's a moratorium on development, and then 2 sections later it says this is not a development moratorium. So
What's the difference between a development moratorium and what you're proposing?
I'm proposing a development moratorium. So that's what I'm proposing based on our statutes. There's a couple ways that towns can enact moratoriums. So the main one is under statute 66-1002, which is a development moratorium based on, you've identified an issue, we need to put pause to, The other is to hone in things like site plan review requirements and, other requirements that currently the town doesn't have, right? We don't have site plan review in our ordinances. Town of Beloit does, so their moratoriums could look different because they do have higher requirements for development projects than the town does. So, we're kind of shoehorned into this one route because of the way our ordinances are currently written.
The town of Janesville is not a development moratorium.
Well, they say it's not, but that doesn't mean it's not. Yeah.
So then a part of the verbiage, could it be that you're working on your own ordinances? I mean, obviously, we're a small township.
Well, that's what we have. That's what I have right now is
Right.
that we're amending chapter 19, which is our zoning ordinances to protect the health, safety of the public. But that's, again, as Tim said, it's a big hole, right?
Well, just because I know that Town of Rock had some questions like with the M2 zoning, that some of the wording, like the vocabulary needed to have better clarification. So I, I don't know if that's things that you guys are gonna pick apart too, is a certain word may mean something to us, whereas to a developer,
Well, I've
they
made,
can identify it a different way.
I've made the argument behind closed doors for months that what's the difference between a data center and a warehouse?
Right, and that's one of the things
Right?
that was
I mean,
brought
you
up.
know, if I represented a data center developer and they were really aggressive,
Mhm.
I would be happy to make the argument that this is a warehouse and should be a permitted use anywhere a warehouse is a permitted
Well,
use.
because they sell data, correct? So it's,
Well, they store
Right.
data, right? And the definition of a warehouse is a building that stores goods.
Right.
Information is a good.
so that's tightening up
Yeah,
on what
yep,
you
exactly.
define that as,
Correct.
as opposed to what they define it as.
Correct, yeah. So, I mean, Mr. Hoople back there is willing to provide some information or, some model language. I'd be happy to include that and pass that along. And then I think that will get us to a better place to at least have, and again, I just want to make sure that you guys have an obligation to your townspeople to not, for lack of a better term, bait and switch, right? Oh, here's the model ordinance. Guess, just joke's on you. This is the one we're actually discussing tonight, right? So I want to make sure that we're transparent. We're putting in front of the people, what at least a majority of the ordinance is going to look like, because let's be honest, if you asked for a copy of an ordinance and you were given what we have currently, and then you showed up to that public hearing 30 days later, and it was something completely different, you wouldn't be happy, right? So that's what I want to make sure we're avoiding.
I got a question to follow up on that. Will the draft that you create after all this discussion be available online for the townspeople to look at prior to a meeting? So we have a chance to review things before a meeting, otherwise we're just in a meeting and I don't have anything.
Yeah, it's required.
I don't have anything to reference what you're talking about.
It's required to be available, right? And that's the whole thing. That's why I've approached this with as much caution as I have, to make sure that what we're making available is an honest copy of what we plan on
Okay,
discussing.
so, we'll have a meeting where we can provide input.
No, wait, yep.
We'll take a look at it prior to
Yep,
that.
right,
meeting.
yep.
So-
Earlier in 24 hours.
Yeah, it's got to be available to you. Basically the day that the town publishes the notice, it has to be available that day. Yeah,
Which
so
is
you'll
what, 30
every
days
public
before?
30 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll have 30.
Or public hearing, I'm sorry, for every public hearing.
So I heard some concern over definition of terms. So between what the town might mean and what a company might apply to mean. So could the town create some advantageous loopholes for itself by defining a term and say including but not limited to, and then give the definition, say 10?
I mean, potentially. I mean, that's the short answer is yes. We just need to make sure we're spelling that out, right? I mean, like I said, the example I
Well,
gave
one
was
of the
warehouse.
wording verbiage was consumer goods.
Yeah, right. And so again,
What do you define it as
and
opposed to what
yeah,
they
and we
define
want
it
to
as?
make sure that good legal drafting eliminates ambiguity. We want to make sure that there is no ambiguity, there is no room for interpretation, because the way that it plays out, the town would present to a court their interpretation, the developer is going to present their interpretation, and then a judge is a wild card and they decide what the actual interpretation is. My goal anytime I'm drafting anything is to eliminate room for interpretation.
I don't know, part of the purpose or the problem, in my mind, is having the time to assess. And it's not just it's gotta include the term welfare of residents, so maybe it's not necessarily health, but it's like the couple that said, I'll have to move. So it's the welfare of our residents.
It says, right now it says to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare of town residents. Yeah, that's in there.
And then what is, very last, on your exceptions? What was B? Guess I wasn't understanding. what that meant.
So let me see here. Subsection B, Sorry, the application described in subsection B that do not rate, so we are saying above in subsection paren B, declaration of moratorium, a temporary moratorium is hereby declared with respect to one, any of the following submitted to the town. Rezoning requests, plats or certified survey maps, and subdivision plats or other land divisions. And two, the issuance of building permits relating to data centers as a principal and primary use when they have a floor plan greater than 10,000 square feet contained within a single building or collection of buildings. So essentially what you're referring to subsection paren I sub B, what that's saying is that there is not a moratorium on rezoning requests, plats or certified survey maps, and subdivision plats or other land divisions if they don't relate to data centers. Like, we still want to encourage subdivision developments, other land divisions, other commercial non-data center developments, things like that. That's what that's saying, is we're not doing a moratorium on all land divisions, all rezones, just anything related to a data center. And I've broadened it. I know this discussion really, we've used the term data center to really mean hyperscale data center, but we're defining data center to basically include anything that's not like someone's shed with a server in it, so.
And then, under length of moratorium,
Mhm.
I certainly hope it doesn't take us a year, but maybe it will, I don't know. Do we right now put in that if we're not done, we can get that 6-month extension?
That would be another, that would be we'd have to enact another ordinance extending the 6 months. And also I know I've mentioned this before, the ordinance, or sorry, the statute does require that if you've resolved all your issues, yay, in less than 12 months, you have to lift the moratorium at that time.
So now what if you have your list of things that you're looking at? What if along the way something else crops up?
Good question. So for example, let's say we're looking at XYZ. We don't identify, I don't know, some forever chemical that data centers use in our studies, right? We just don't identify that as something we need to study. You can always amend an ordinance, right? So the town board could come back and amend this ordinance to include that.
I mean, obviously in a year, something could happen in another
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
area,
I mean,
and then you
look
could
at
go, oh man, we need to look at that
the
too.
reason I raised forever chemicals is because that's a real issue, right? They were used. No one identified the danger of it until decades later, and now we're dealing with it as a society. Everyone in here has forever chemicals circulating in their bodies, and so yeah, there's definitely something that may come to light within the next 12 months or 18 months that we haven't included in the ordinance. The town can always go back and revise that. That said, just because it's not in the ordinance, I would say we're going to leave in the section about amending chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances to adopt an ordinance pertaining to data centers, right? And so if we identify, oh, we want to do this other study, but it's not an ordinance, we can still do it and say, well, we need it to fully and faithfully amend chapter 19, right? So there is that blanket statement that's kind of a catch-all. It's kind of the other way of saying including but not limited to in that section. Yeah.
All right, so how, you're getting with the gentleman in the back?
Yeah, and I mean, there was never any action on this intended to be taken tonight because statutorily, any action that we took tonight on this was going to be invalid anyway, right? So the whole purpose was to have discussion. This was, I think, very fruitful discussion. Very much looking forward to the helping with the wording. I will revise this and add to it as we've discussed, and then I think we should be ripe to post a notice and hold a public hearing. We need to determine a date for that. So, and again, the way the statutes reads is that the class 1 notice has to be at least 30 days before the public hearing. It can be more. It can be 35, 40 days. So if we were to post tomorrow, it can be, it doesn't have to be exactly 30 days.
Well, that ain't gonna happen anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the way the calendars fall, sometimes you get a couple extra days in there, but we're exactly 4 weeks till the next town board meeting. So, did that math earlier.
And the Daily News is still a wild card, so.
So it'd be October.
But potentially, yeah.
There's nothing saying it could be out of a different night.
Yeah, and again, you can hold a public meeting on a night that's not, or the public hearing on a night that's not a town board meeting, or a time that's not a town.
Which might be best, anyhow. There's still a bunch of stuff we carried over.
Well, in just from a fatigue standpoint, it may be better to have it on separate nights so that we can have a very lengthy discussion if that's what it takes, and not then go into a town board meeting immediately after. And it'll give me time to revise the draft ordinance between the public hearing and when you guys vote to adopt, right? I mean, if I have a couple days at least to revise it, that would be much appreciated.
How long do you think, is that what you're talking about right now, is drafting this for the notice? How long?
I'll have this as soon as, can I give you my email address?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking to me?
No. You do?
I bug you all the time.
Yeah.
Cause I'm looking at how long it would take to get it in the paper according to I know, cause I just put another notice in. You're probably looking at the soonest being the 21st of September.
There's a song about that, I think.
There is. You remember?
I'm sure I will.
I mean, I think the 30 days actually lands you on the weekend, but
Yeah, and again, it's at least 30 days, right? So if it's 31 days, 32 days.
do they need to pick a specific date, or can we base it on the publication and just have it be in the notice?
The date of the hearing has to be in the notice.
Well, I mean, right now, do they?
Oh,
need to-
no,
Okay.
no. We can set that. I guess that we should probably have a motion and a hearing to set the public hearing, right?
A motion
No,
to have it?
yeah, no, I guess we don't.
I feel like it wouldn't be needed because they passed that resolution.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. No, they wouldn't. The resolution covers that. So no, we're good. And technically, we can call public hearing though.
Yeah, every day, any other public hearing.
Sorry, just being extra cautious right now.
So what if this thing ends up being a lot of people?
We'll see.
We're thinking about a different location? Since there are 3 townships that are,
Mhm.
it might end up being quite large.
My concern is people in the town of Turtle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's my concern.
But do we want to have a situation where we have to turn people away, or that there's a fire code issue? Just a thought, just putting it out there. I know that I've held 2 events at Black Hawk Tech and we've had 500 people there, so
Mhm.
just.
Well, 500 show up, some are gonna be outside.
Can I adjourn this meeting at 8:47?
Bill,
How will the ordinance be shared? Is it electronic?
We should be able to share it electronically, and then I would imagine if someone needs a hard copy.
And it'll be, a summary of it also will be in
Yeah.
the public.
Yeah, summary, but the actual word,
in the
yeah.
paper,
But the
yeah.
actual ordinance,
Mhm.
they could pick up a paper copy of,
Yeah, I can just put it on the website too.
but a lot of people don't
Yeah.
have that ability to print out.
What do you want to do?
I'm good. I should have what I need with a little assistance from the audience. So I will work on that and get it to Christina. We'll work on a summary, which should give you the language needed to publish the notice and go from there.
You need, you know,
So we'll just pick a date following the 30 days and.
Yeah, based on publication.
Yeah, I'll
Christina.
find out how soon I can do it.
All right. What else you got this evening? That it?
That's it.
Well, now it's 8:50.
49.
Your motion to adjourn? I'll second the motion. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposing, no. We're adjourned.
It's not even 9 o'clock.
Huh?
It's not even 9 o'clock yet.
I would like to know how somebody can come to a meeting, sit in the front row, get her done, you, and not offer to take your life.
Next time you schedule informational session, I mean, I'm in town, so I can attend.
Have you missed both of us?
It's both, yeah, I've been in Michigan for one. Okay.
Yeah, if you like them, I get your email from.
Yeah, perfect. And actually, I have a card.
Yeah.
I know,
We had a professional videographer there, so we've got it.
yeah, I have been, out of town. So you're gonna need this. There's that. You're gonna need this.
Thank you.
There's that. You're gonna need this.
No, I just have a.
Yeah.
This says the release in May and whatever ends one time, to extend it. But you could, you said we could amend it anytime?
This is, you may amend it one time to extend the moratorium. That's only.
Oh, I know, Sean.
That's only,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
only limiting.
I'll share with you.
the amendment. Does that make sense? The way that,
Gotcha.
like.
That's important.
I told them off.
This is
I'll send you the video. and
Extended.
then, Obviously, they're working.
I mean, you would have